So we are going to conduct the last Dhamma discussion of this Kalalgoda English Medium retreat in the month of July retreat. So we have received several questions, it seems. So we'll start the session with the written questions. Yeah.
Avasarai Bhante, we have received 3 reports so far.
Right.
Report number 1, Most Venerable Bhante, this morning sitting session was able to calm the mind and watch the breath. It instantly became subtle. Got 3 different pleasant but subtle fragrances which persisted throughout the session. Was aware of the fragrances but did not concentrate on them. Once the breath thinned out, I could say my concentration settled on my forehead. It remained there till the end of the session. Towards the end, felt a sort of an illumination engulfing the mind. It was calming, not distracting. Watch the subtle breath through it all. Managed to stay in the sitting session for about 1 hour and 10 minutes. Much merit and gratitude. Thero and Nissarana.
Yeah, I mean, this illumination, sort of a bright light, is a kind of symbol that arising as a result of some developed concentration. So as we develop fair amount of concentration, this kind of a sign can happen. So if it is happening to you, let it happen. No need to stop that. Indicating that fair amount of concentration is now being developed. And at the same time, probably you can look at the breath little bit, some close investigation with some clear information, so that not only concentration but even the clear comprehension we are going to attach, we are going to improve. So you are going ahead with developing concentration, but now we are adding another aspect to the situation where a certain amount of wisdom, certain amount of clear comprehension, say investigation, so manasikara, we are going to add to the picture. So that way you can in a way balance, because otherwise it can lean completely into the concentration, too much into concentration, and that is also not that good. Sometimes people who are too biased about samatha, so they simply continue with samatha, continue with concentration, and then actually use this sign as a precursor or as a kind of a method to get into absorptions. But rather than doing that, better we are concerned about all 5 faculties, saddha, viriya, sati, samadhi, panya, all different faculties. So then it's a kind of a balanced approach. Sometimes Buddha mentioned as yuganadda, where concentration and wisdom, or samatha and vipassana, we are fairly taking together. So that will make you a kind of a balanced approach. So I prefer to sort of put you into that track. So therefore you can see what are the information available, what are the more details available, what are the subtle aspects available within the breath. Then you are using concentration, already developed concentration to develop vipassana as well. Yeah. So if you need more clarification, please raise your hand, then we can further continue. Yeah. One moment.
Swamin Wahanse, when you have that, what do you call, ekagratave, what is that, the concentration,
right.
So how do we put into vipassana?
Yeah, I mean, first we need certain amount of concentration.
Yeah.
Without that it's difficult.
Yeah.
Now, as we develop concentration, automatically if there are various body sensations arise, then that paves the way to a kind of field for our concentration. Now, say for example, if you want to see the impermanence, so certain phenomena should be available to see the impermanence.
Yeah.
So these bodily features, bodily phenomena, sensations, feelings, thoughts, they are the various phenomena. They are the conditioned phenomena. So what happens is, as we develop fair amount of concentration, as we develop fair amount of body awareness, so naturally these sensations become evident to us. So then you are selecting one of them. Say there are 10 sensations available, for example. Among them, you are selecting one of the most prominent or most easier type of phenomena, and now you are keeping your attention to that phenomena, to that sensation, and now you are closely looking at it.
Yeah. Today morning, actually, I had that concentration very well, but then I couldn't come into next step actually.
You couldn't
I
come
thought
to what?
next step. What
right.
I thought, what should I do?
Yeah.
Like that.
So that's the thing. So one thing is, now as we continue towards too much about the concentration, it can, maintain kind of a very lighter and very, say, soft kind of a situation where you can't even feel the body. You feel like floating, you can't even feel anything. So that is too much in a way to begin with the Vipassana, where, as a practical point of view, if you have something tangible, if you have something, verifiable, certain sensations are already there, then you can recognize them pretty easily, no?
I felt that I am sitting on the chair, and I didn't feel anything like that illumination, illumination, the first one.
So I thought that question belongs to you.
No, not mine.
Okay. So what did you feel?
No, I felt after some time I felt little pain in my leg. Not anything else. It's that I understood that I came out from that concentration.
Yeah. So rather than telling like you came out of concentration, now if you have certain amount of concentration, and now you come across various feelings, painful feelings, now use those as your object.
Okay.
So you are keeping your developed concentration there, and now you are doing a little bit of investigation. What's really going on there? You are like kind of recognizing that. You are it becomes your teacher now.
Yeah.
So they are there for you to teach the true nature, and you are simply keeping your attention in a more relaxed manner, quiet manner, but focused manner, and you allow it to behave as it likes. You are not doing anything except properly keeping a little curious mind. That's all. You are not thinking, you are not doing any conditioning, or you are not coloring. Rather, you have to have a very balanced, equanimous mind, which is well focused and curious about what's really going on. Then you can see, because these phenomena have their own nature. That's what we are going to understand directly.
Okay, Swami.
Yeah.
The one who wrote the report, if she or he has anything to discuss, you can raise your hand.
Bhante, that was my meditation report. When investigating the breath, sometimes I notice the portion of air that is traveling through each nostril, the length and the temperature, those things I'm able to observe. But sometimes I feel that and the concentration doesn't really merge. Now, today I didn't really investigate the breath to that extent.
Mm-hmm.
So when that happens, I don't know, I just feel that both parties, they don't really merge.
Both part? I didn't get you.
The investigative faculties, what we are investigating the breath, and then the concentration. I feel it's either I concentrate on the breath and it thins out and that concentration develops, or it's I investigate it, but then I don't really come to today's state it.
I mean, while you are investigating, you don't need to worry about concentration. It's a matter of you already have certain amount of sharpness in the mind, say sharp mindfulness, sharp concentration, that's enough, and that's why you can see the details. So it's very much like you are making the apparatus. Now say you need to investigate a certain kind of something under the microscope. So you are preparing it, you are properly focusing it, properly putting the illumination to it. Now you have whatever underneath. Now you are investigating. So very much the same thing. So now we have certain amount of mindfulness, certain amount of concentration already available. Now various phenomena are happening. So at that time, if you can recognize these different phenomena, that means enough concentration is available. Enough mindfulness is available. You are not being distracted to various other things. And again, you can see all the necessary details indicate necessary amount of concentration is there. Actually, for this investigation, you don't need absorption. You don't need deep concentration. If the mind is in the deep concentration, you can't even see that. So that's why we have to have kind of a necessary amount of concentration, kind of optimum amount of concentration has to be maintained in order to do the proper investigation. If not, we can't even see that. If not, we get absorbed to something and then we get locked there. So the mind's operating capacity loses, rather it stagnates in a particular place. So it absorbs to something. So that is in a way kind of a hindrance for Vipassana. So that's why even in the jhana, so you can't do anything while in the jhana. So if you are going to deeper jhanas type of thing, then if you want to practice Vipassana, then you have to recognize its disadvantages and emerge from that. So after you emerge from jhana, there may be very subtle aspects of feeling, subtle aspects of perceptions with respect to jhana itself that can do Vipassana, that can do a little bit of investigation, but little difficult tasks. You are dealing with immediately with some sort of a mental attributes, cetasikas, which is also possible but difficult. But easy approach is, say you have certain amount of concentration, now various bodily phenomena are there, and using that available concentration, you start investigating bodily phenomena. Practically now you are slowly, even sharpening your attention. Because different phenomena at the beginning, you can't read much. Even though they are there, you can't see much detail. But you need to further sharpen your attention again and again looking at it. Again and again find curious about it. Then slowly they start appearing. They start dividing into various parts, something like that. So that indicates you are further sharpening your faculties. Now very much like you understood the method. So kind of practically that is easy. Approach-wise it is easy. So that you start with something tangible and it appear like one thing, but once you closely look at it, it has 5 things, something like that. Then slowly once that capacity is there, now you can look at even one thing, the next thing. So likewise, you are refining your attention. Practically, that is easy. Okay. Yeah.
Report number 2, Theruvan Saranai Venerable Bhante. Walking meditation. Yesterday evening, I started walking, trying to pay attention to the sensations. I felt sand getting pressed under my feet. As the fingertips touched the ground, the pressure started to grow, and when the whole foot is touching the ground, I felt the weight of my body on the foot, and then it changed to the other foot. I kept on walking, paying attention to these feelings, but without my knowledge, my attention drifted away. Various thoughts come to my mind like I am watching a film. Then suddenly I realized that I should be mindfully walking. Then I started to pay attention to my walking, feeling the roughness and smoothness of sand at various places. The cool breeze made me comfortable. I felt the clothes against my legs. Again, my thoughts go to various places, but as time passes, I could drag my attention back to my feet, faster and more frequently. I walked for about 45 minutes and sat down for my sitting meditation. Since I was feeling very uncomfortable sitting on the ground, this time I sat on a chair and found that I am more comfortable and I could pay more attention to rising and falling of my stomach, chest. Even though the thoughts come and linger for some time, I could recognize those as thoughts and manage to concentrate on the rising and falling of the stomach. After some time, I had a sort of numb feeling in my fingertips, but I was aware of my breathing. I didn't even want to move since I thought I might lose my concentration. During this whole time, I was able to concentrate on rising and falling with occasional disruptions of various thoughts. When I am feeling numb, should I keep sitting or should I change my posture? Please advise. Thank you. Many merits to you.
Yeah, I mean, you can mindfully change the posture. There is no much harm because you assume that you went through the same sitting posture for about 30 minutes and now kind of a numbness arises. Now, but still you prefer to continue your meditation, but this becomes kind of a pain now. So you can keep your attention to that. Carefully you change the posture. So you see how this pain disappears. And now you can return back to rising and falling and you can continue the practice. I mean, either way is okay. So either you can, while observing rising and falling, you can change the posture without paying their attention, but maintaining your attention still at the rising and falling. That is also possible. Or else you can shift your attention to the pain, where the pain is available. And while you are paying attention there, you can change the posture. Then you can recognize how it is changing, reducing, disappearing. Then you can return back to rising and falling. Many things are possibilities are there. So I feel better to change the posture because now the fair amount of momentum is already gathered. You rather than stop the process, stop the session, winding up the session, you can continue the practice. Yeah. Okay.
Report number 3. Dear Bhante, yesterday after the sermon, I was sitting underneath the outside Buddha statue, reminiscing the deep sermon, and this thought occurred to me. I will state in Sinhala. Viññāna වරහන් ඇතුලේ දැනීම් වලින් පස්සේ සංඥා ඇති වුණේ නැත්නම් සිතට ඒ අරමුණ ඔස්සේ සංස්කාර ගලා යන්නට ඉඩක් නෑ නේද? Perception is the main cause where sanskara flows like a river stream. I sat there for quite a while with all the sounds reaching my ears and the mind was not bothered to perceive beyond it. Gradually, with settlement of mind, I brought my focus to arising and passing, ඇතිවීම නැතිවීම of viññāna. Then I saw with the sound there birth a stream of viññāna and I just kept watching. I brought my attention to the rupa. It's just lying there like a log, and I brought my attention to places where it touches the ground and the pillar. I noticed viññāna again arising and passing. I noticed body is one thing, and since I was giving attention to nama, this is the one playing the role of dragging the mind to connect to a total outer world. But with practice, you can keep it focusing on inner world. It took me a long time to really keep watching inner world, but I do hope to walk the path of Satipatthana towards light. Theruvan Saranai.
Yeah, good, no problem. I mean, you can do all this kind of. I mean, within our proper knowledge, you can do a little bit of experiments. No harm. Now, to give you a little information, now in the Ayatana Pub, when you are talking about the Dhammanupassana. So some similar approach is there. So various senses we already have. Through eye, through ear, through nose, tongue, body, mind are there. But you keep your attention onto those doors. So they are the doors through which that we get or we connect with the outside. But the point is, say, when we see something, there's a possibility, apart from that knowing, there could be a possibility, a desire to arise, a thought to arise, a defilement to arise. Now you can even watch that. And if you are able to recognize that, you simply discard it, you allow it to fade away, and again you watch what's going on. Maybe another door, a sound may happen, maybe a little irritation happen. So you even notice that. Rather than being followed by that, now you even recognize it and drop it, and again watch it. So likewise, so recognizing all these different senses, having kind of an overview and understanding what's really going on at these different senses, these different faculties, is another approach, no problem. And on the other hand, so they are having a close relationship. So this is explained in the Mahavedalla Sutta, where Venerable Mahakottita is asking, Vedana, Sanya and Viññāna, are they three separate or are they conjoined? What do you think? feelings, perceptions and consciousness, are they completely different or are they conjoined? Are they have kind of a relationship? They have a relationship. So Venerable Sariputta answers, they are not disjoint, they are not completely separate, but they have a relationship. What you feel, that you recognize. That means Vedana and Sanya. What you feel is what you recognize. And what you recognize is what you know. Yang vedeti tang sanjanati, yang sanjanati tang vijanati. So there's a very interesting relationship is there. So, we can't actually immediately understand it because it happens, everything has happened already. But Buddha say, according to Dhamma, Venerable Sariputta explained, okay, there's a immediate, very slight, feeling happen. Now you are open and you want to recognize it. And as immediately, now you know it. So these are kind of conjoined. So in a way, this mental world is in a way really interesting part. So how we are recognizing, how it can lead to thinking, how we start adding thoughts, constructions and all these things as you have mentioned, reported. So more we understand this whole jungle, or all this sort of complex thing, so it becomes, unwinding kind of things. Now it's almost like entangled, now it becomes unentangled. And then you feel there's no need to do this. Let me keep things as it is. Let me avoid doing any kind of constructions. Then it's a kind of a resting at peace. So as you mentioned, a thought happen, so you recognize it as a thought and it will fade away. Say a mental image happen, you recognize it as a mental image, it also fades away. A feeling happens, you recognize it as a feeling, it also fades away. Say a sensation happen in your body, you recognize it as a sensation, it also fades away. So you are the kind of silent observer. So you simply be in the middle. You are maintaining kind of a choiceless awareness. So different things are happening, but you are not bothered. So you can maintain that kind of a full awareness, but you are not interrupting anything. And again, you are not proliferating anything. So mind's calmness, peacefulness, clarity remains. So this is something that we need to develop. So actually the path, the Satipatthana practice takes us to this level. As we even yesterday discussed, ditte dittamattam bhavissati. So that means seeing is there, it becomes mere seeing. You are not talking about it, you are not thinking about it, you are not imagining about it. You can maintain the clarity of mind as it is. Say you hear various things, you are not being interrupted about the sounds. It can even interrupt, but your mind not shaken. You are not thinking. Based upon the sound, you are not thinking. It doesn't mean that you can't hear. You may hear definitely, but no thoughts generated. So likewise, so this is the kind of a capacity we need to develop. So once we develop that, now we have to do a further purification, how we can maintain this kind of a unassociated state of mind, anissitocha viharati, and non-grasping state of mind, nachakinchi loke upadiyati. And so in many ways Buddha explained that anissito anupadano sato bhikkhu paribbaje. So Buddha mentioned, okay, now what you need to do is to maintain this unassociated, non-grasping state of mind with mindfulness. Anissito anupadano sato bhikkhu paribbaje. So likewise, in order to reach this state, you need a certain amount of practice, definitely. But once you reach there, now it's a matter of maintaining that non-clinging, non-grasping, unassociated type of mentality you got to maintain. So minimize proliferation, minimized overthinking, reduce unnecessary thinking, thought generation, etc. But relax in this kind of peaceful awareness. So then you can even recognize how I-making happens, mind-making happens, assuming happens, assumptions happen, various traits happen. So what are the patterns available? So further understanding. So reaching this state doesn't guarantee still kind of a full achievement, but you found at least kind of a working ground. then you have a little bit of capacity to further work, to continue the practice in a more subtle way. So that is where the sort of we come to another level of our practice. At the beginning, it's a kind of a struggle. You are striving to reach this, and once you are here, now it is not it shouldn't be a struggle now. It's a kind of a way of life now. So typically what we say is, previously you are doing, now you are being. Now only you are a human being. So what we see all around the world is human doing, but no human beings. Yes.
Saranai Bhante.
Yeah.
Now, while we are doing Vipassana here or even at home at different times, it may be possible to do Vipassana all the time when you get, say, Ragasita or Mohasita. You won't be able to identify it in the next Chittakshana, but let's say after some time, you will understand and you know that Ragasita came and now it has value. So Anitya and Dukkha and Anatma can be identified that way, but there is a time gap. So slowly, if you can reduce the time gap, when you
so
get
almost like immediate then.
Same Chittakshana or immediately after that.
Correct.
Is it can be done practically?
Yes. So that's what Buddha say. So that's why immediately we can't, of course. So what happens is, so when the mindfulness is not sharp enough, so this whatever the feeling has to grow to some extent. It has to come some intense level. Then only we start feeling it. Then only we start noticing it. But assume now your mindfulness is further sharpening. Your clear comprehension further sharpening. Now slowly, even at a lower stage of this emotion, you can notice. Assume further you are sharpening through your practice. Now even the first arising of the feeling, first arising of the thought, first arising of the perception or mark, sign. So whatever little change happen in the mind, you can notice. So that's why now say kind of a little difference there is there in the Chittanupassana and the Dhammanupassana. In the Chittanupassana level, Buddha say, Saragan Chittanti Pajanati. So that means now there is the lustful thought available. So it has arisen to some level. Now you notice it. From that onwards, you are not promoting it. So you step back. Now as a result of that, it may naturally fade away. But when it comes to Dhammanupassana, that is also there. Santangva ajjattang kamachandang attime ajjattang kamachandodi pajanati. So that means now kamachanda is there, lustful thought is there, some lust is there. So you recognize it. And as a result of that, it fades away. But the next stage, anuppannassa kamachandassa uppado hoti tancha pajanati. So that means you are aware, but now there is no kamachanda, but now I can see the arising of kamachanda. So that means a very initial stage. Even the very initial stage, you are noticing how kamachanda is arising. So that indicates our faculties, our mindfulness, say clear comprehension can be further sharpened as we are continuing the path, as we are continuing in the Chittanupassana. At the beginning, we need it to arise to some extent, then only we could notice it. But now it is not. You recognize a kind of a mind state which is completely free from kamachanda. You know the absence of kamachanda, but now you know the presence of kamachanda at its very early stage. So likewise, through the practice one can do it. So that on the other hand, in order to do that, you need to recognize a mind which is free from kamachanda, and again which is free from any kind of defilement. Very pure state of mind, non-grasping state of mind has to be recognized. A released state of mind without grasping. So that kind of a mind state one has to recognize. Then only he has a kind of a very good reference. Say, for example, for me to say, now assume that this table is completely white. Now, if I recognize the white background carefully, then even this little piece, when it is being dropped to this, I can easily notice it. Something like that. So our mind is also have that capacity. The more you associate that clear state of mind, more you maintain that non-grasping state of mind, the moment a grasping happen, you feel it. You start appearing like it's like a burden, and you are not approving it later. So you feel, I better maintain that non-grasping state. I better return that to non-grasping state. Actually, Buddha encourages that. So that's why in the Indriya Bhavana Sutta, Buddha encouraged, so don't be in that grasping state. Don't be in that agitated state. Return back to that non-grasping state, that equanimous state, clear state, simplified state. So he encouraged that. Say, etang santang etang panitang yadidang upekka. So he give a little bit of an inclination, kind of an encouragement towards that non-grasping, peaceful state of mind, and we have to dwell there. We have to use that as a kind of a home position as much as possible. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, added to that, Bhante, instead of a feeling, sometimes when my mind, the breathing is very soft, and then if I get irritated or getting angry, before that, my heart beats a little bit faster.
Correct.
So before that, if I can recognize that, I can stop the anger. So that is also...
There. Definitely. There's an interconnection.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we can't immediately deal with the thoughts level, mind level, you can actually look back the body level. The physical side, you can easily recognize. So what is there any tension coming because of this turmoil going on in the mind? Definitely there should be.
Okay.
Because there should be some physical influence coming from any kind of a defilement. That's a must in a way.
Okay.
So if you are able, you can notice what are the changes happen in the body according to whatever the defilement now operating in the mind. So if you feel you are not confident yet to handle the mental level, you can look at the physical level, and slowly if you are able to release these tensions, what happened to the mental thing? It also naturally releases. So without this physical support, you can't maintain this. And on the other hand, since we are not promoting that mental turmoil, whatever the defilement, since we have completely taken our attention to the body, so who is going to feed this?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we are the ones feeding it. We are the ones energizing it. So we broken that path, but we shifted our attention to the body. It automatically recognized the bodily tensions. That also released. Now this become kind of redundant now, disappear.
Okay.
So that's another technique actually available.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah. Okay. So we have come to the end of the program. So if you have any other question, we can spend a few more minutes. Okay, fine. Then we'll wind up the session. So we have gathered here for 3 days. Most of you are here. And we were able to accumulate fair amount of merits. Is there any writing, sharing of merits? Okay. Okay. So today, breakfast dana was offered by Iromi Pereira, blessings for her parents. May the merit also help them to progress in their Dhamma path towards liberation. Then afternoon dana by Dishna Ranasinghe, right? And to offer merits to her grandfather, who passed away 41 years back, and to her parents, wishing good health, and to all yogis practicing to shorten samsara. Yeah. So all the merits that we have accrued all these days to participating in Dhamma discussions and practicing, and again listening to Dhamma. So we share with all the celestial beings, all the past relatives, and whoever in need of merits. And we wish these merits help us also to the practice of our Dhamma, and so that we can realize path, Bhushan, Nibbana. While keeping these good wishes in our mind, let's recite the traditional verses. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya එත්තාවතාච අම්හෙහි සම්බතං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ භූතා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පatti සිද්ධියා එත්තාවතාච අම්හෙහි සම්බතං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ සත්තා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පatti සිද්ධියා ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ශාසනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු දේශනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු මම් පරං ඉදං වෝ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදං වෝ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදං වෝ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ ගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා sadhu sadhu sadhu. So in order to administer Ajivattamaka Sila, you may recite Namo Tassa 3 times.